I know it's so weird, Brandy. Like, but we do try to actually make this produced so people actually would want to watch. So
I've watched them all. So
what? Oh,
hey, that's the first. That's the first guess.
Oh, you hit that! Yeah! Let's go! Shoot, Andy Slaymaker, who is a host on the show, hasn't even watched them all.
Nope.
Daggone him.
everyone.
Wow. Are we live, Timmy?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Cool. Nick, why don't you pray, man?
Yeah, I would love to. Heavenly Father, Lord, just quiet our minds and just slow us down and just lead and guide all the words that come out. And regardless of what happens, Lord, at the end of this, you're just glorified and people are encouraged. And it's in Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Let's go. We're so excited that Brandy Tharp is on
Thank
the
you.
podcast.
Thank you.
The podcast today. This is season 2, by the way. I don't know
Right.
if you knew that or not. For those of you who are watching, we are in season 2 right now. Hope you enjoyed the first episode with Bernadette Clark, who absolutely we love so dearly. And even now that we know some of her story, we love even more. But let me just say this. We had no idea that was the storyline. We thought we were going to talk about being a nurse in Alaska. That's what we thought.
When I watched it, that's what I thought
Yeah,
too.
right? So it was like me and Timmy are back there. Sabrina's here doing the interview, and our mouths are literally on the floor because we're like, we had no idea.
Right.
You know, it just goes to show you, like, you never know what somebody else is going through, has went through. So it's like, hey, calm down. You don't know somebody else's story. Chill.
Yes.
Right? So, Brandy Tharp, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
We're so glad that you're here
Thank you.
today.
Thank
Season 2. Not sure when we'll release this episode, but it will be in season 2. So thanks for being here today.
Perfect. Thanks
How
for
are
having
you?
me.
How are you?
I have to tell that?
Yeah, like my dad always says, and I've told this before. Like my dad asked me, puts his hands on my shoulders. Tyler, how are you really? And I hate that question, by the way. Like I hate it.
Yeah.
But
me too.
how's Brandy doing today?
I'm good. The sun's shining.
Yeah.
It's beautiful outside.
Do you like winter?
I love winter. If it's going to be cold, I'd rather have snow though.
Sure. How was Christmas? The New Year?
All is well.
Yeah.
All is well.
What do you do to bring in the New Year?
Usually bed by 9:30.
Yeah. Well, I went to bed and woke up at like 11. Well, actually, it was Don. He woke me up at 11:59, and then I just cool.
Yeah. Night.
See you tomorrow. Yeah. We're not big New Year's people. I don't like staying up real late. I like getting up early. But
Me too.
are you a New Year's resolution kind of person?
Not really. I always feel like it almost sets you up for failure.
Sure.
So
yeah.
I just strive to be better every day, not just the year.
Come on, every day.
Every day.
Every day. Andy said on one of the episodes, he's like, a new year just represents the possibilities. Like the same possibilities that could happen last year can happen this year.
Right.
But you got to be driven. You got to be motivated. You know, so it takes a lot of work to change your life, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
Well, we're just so excited to have you today. Are you from the area or?
I am from the area.
Okay.
I shouldn't say I am from the area. We've been here though for probably 15 years.
Okay.
So practically, yeah, we're from the area.
From the area, like where were you at before here?
Well, as a kid, I kind of was a little bit of everywhere. But I went to school and graduated from Rochester High School.
You know, I saw that in your profile. You're a zebra.
Yeah.
You're a zebra.
Yeah.
I'm a Valley Viking. So yeah.
And that's where my oldest son, Daniel, he graduated from Valley.
Okay.
Once I moved on in life, I pretty much was in Akron.
Okay.
So
you lived in Akron.
I live here in Manchester
But
now,
you-
but I did live in Akron.
We lived in Akron too.
Yeah.
That's
my grandparents forever since I've been born have lived in
Where
Akron.
at in Akron did you
They
live?
live on, well, I lived right in town,
Okay.
on the main drag.
Oh, there's so many of them.
Yeah. Probably the third or fourth house down from, well, it used to be the Fluff when I was
The
a kid.
Fluff, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever work there?
I did not.
I worked at the Fluff.
Did you?
Yep. I started in dishes and I learned how to cook from the Fluff.
Never worked at the Fluff.
Yeah, that was like a local place to go. That was a fun place. That's
Yeah.
where I learned how to make pancakes and make eggs.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the breakfast side of it, but I enjoyed learning how to cook because now I cook all the time. So
Yeah.
the Fluff, I haven't heard that in a minute.
The Fluff.
The Fluff. What is it called now?
I don't even know.
Does anybody know what's it called?
I was just gonna ask what's the Fluff now?
Yeah, what is the Fluff now? If you know, tell us what the Fluff is.
Is it Christie's? Used to be Sloan's.
No,
No.
that's further downtown.
Yeah.
After.
Oh,
That's
further downtown, 2 blocks.
Further to the four-way stop.
Is it Jones's?
Well, there's a Jones's there now.
I wonder what. I don't know. Anyways, I digress.
I don't know.
It's great food, though. I think probably maybe.
Yeah, I haven't been there in a while.
Is it the Dilly?
No, it ain't that either. Ain't
No.
that one either. Yeah, that's downtown too. Yeah, I have a lot of memories in Akron. My grandparents lived on Division Road, which was just north of town.
Yep, know where that is.
Yep. And a lot of great memories out there. But yeah, just Brandy Tharp.
Brandy Tharp.
You're a nurse too, though, right?
I work for I'm a CMA.
Okay.
I work for Dr. Welker. I've been with Dr. Welker for 13, 14 years now.
What's a CMA?
Certified medical assistant.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you're pretty much a doctor then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what my husband calls me.
Right? Dr. Tharp.
Dr. Brandy.
That's cool. How long have you been a nurse?
30 years.
Wow. You ain't that old.
Yeah.
I figured you're like 42. See, we're friends, ain't we? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. 30 years as a nurse. Let's talk about that real quick. What's the best part about being a nurse? We've had one other nurse on the show, right? Annie Weitzel is like a phlebotomist. Is that right?
Yeah.
You draw blood?
Yeah.
Oh, so what's like the best part about being a nurse? What's the hardest part?
You know, I don't know what the best part is because I can find something different every day.
Yeah.
I just love being there for people.
Sure.
Helping take care of people. The worst part, paperwork.
Paperwork. Is there a lot of that?
Yeah.
Is
there's
it
a
all
lot of-
digital or is it still like paper, pen, and pencil?
Well,
or
you
whatever?
haven't. Most of it's digital, but
Yeah.
there's still a lot of paperwork.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot more than I want to deal with.
So you've probably seen some pretty crazy stuff in those 30 years.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. Anything fun? Like crazy, fun, crazy? Like, wow, I can't believe I just saw that.
I mean,
I know it's a big question.
yeah, that's a big question.
Like just people, you just never know what you're going to run into. Like somebody comes in with a knife in their head or something. I don't know. I'm watching ER right now, like the show.
Yeah.
And I've been watching that, and I'm seeing all these crazy people come in with all.
Yeah.
It's like it's just weird. I don't know.
I mean, early in my career, I worked trauma at Knox ER.
wow,
So that was a daily. You saw
the crazies.
car crashes, people come
Yeah.
in with legs looking opposite directions.
And you can handle all that. It doesn't bother you.
No, I
Wow.
love it.
Good for you. Good
Yeah.
for you. Well, Brandy, you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's ghost time. It is time to open up a ghost. And I asked you before the show if you've ever had a ghost, and
not.
you said you have not had a ghost.
I have not.
But you have watched all of the episodes, so you know that part of this, the podcast, is opening up ghosts, which we've given you the best flavor there is, and it's the cherry limeade. It is the best, and
Perfect.
I think I've tried almost every one of them. I tried one just this week. It was a new one. What was it? Strawbango margarita. Strawbango margarita. Ghost has wonderful like flavors, but I still would say Ghost holds the number one. It's the number one.
Perfect.
It's the best one. So if you like cherry limeade, it kind of reminds you of like a strawberry Sprite or whatever. It's just amazing. So I think it's without further ado.
It's time.
Timmy, why don't you give us the countdown? Why don't you do us that? Give us the countdown.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, I hear you're sizzling.
Yeah. Brandy, thanks so much for being on the show today. Let's do it. Let's do it.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I can hear the angels singing. It's so good. I love it.
It is good.
It's not as cold as I would like it to be,
It's okay though.
but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh, isn't it good?
It is good.
If you guys have been drinking Ghost that are watching the show right now, let us know in the comments which one. Yeah, go ahead and crack that thing open, brother. You're a little late, but go ahead and crack it open. Let us know in the comments what your favorite Ghost flavor is. Cherry limeade is. I just love it so much. It just makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Are you an energy? You don't drink energy drinks, or
I'm more of a V8 energy.
Oh, she's one of them people. A
One
V8.
of them.
What is a V8? What could possibly?
You have not seen the V8 energy drink?
I have seen it, but I'm just wondering what could possibly be in a V8 that is interesting.
I'm not real sure.
How does it taste?
But it tastes good.
Does it really? I'm sure there has to be a lot of sugar in it, right?
I haven't even looked at that.
I just don't know about that thing.
I don't even drink those very often.
Yeah. So this is, yeah, Ghost Energy's where
But
it's
I
at
would
for me.
drink this.
This is, we got 2 packs. We got 2 of them down here right now. We can just go for it. We can just binge drink. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. I wouldn't recommend doing that. All right, Brandy. You said you like to take care of people.
I like to take care of people, always have.
And I know that you, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a lot to do with Mom of an Addict.
I do.
And that's kind of one of the main reasons you're on the show today.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into some hard stuff today. So we appreciate your vulnerability, your transparency.
Thanks.
We just we don't take that for granted. We know it can be hard to sit in that seat. Like we totally get it.
Took a lot of years to build up enough to do that.
Yeah. So thank you in advance.
Yes.
And let's just start. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Brandy, and how you got to like go into Mom of an Addict, some of your story growing up. Let's just start.
So as a kid growing up, my father passed away from an accident when I was young.
How young?
So I think I was 3.
Oh, wow.
4,
You were
5.
really young.
Yeah, I was young. So
What kind of accident was it?
motorcycle accident.
Oh,
4th of July in Akron.
no kidding.
You know the big Akron 4th of July
Of
parade.
course I do.
Yeah, day of. So, raised by a single mom most of my life. It was such a struggle with her finding the right one. And
Sure.
so lots of men in and out, moving around all over the United States.
Really?
All over the United States until I became probably 12, 13 years old. Went to stay with my grandparents who live in Akron. And at that time, they were living in the house in Rochester taking care of a grandparent. So
Okay.
great grandparent.
Yeah.
Which made me go to school in Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say I was probably a Viking going to the
Sure.
Zebras.
Yeah. Traitor. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So, very young age, just, of course, trying to make your way. I got pregnant very young, 15 years old, had my first child.
Okay, let's stop.
Which is Daniel,
Let's stop right there. 15 years old.
15 years old.
Wow. And which was Daniel's.
Daniel is the oldest.
Okay.
Daniel's my son who's in heaven now.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, though, when I had Daniel, looking back, even at 15 years old, I knew I wanted to give him more of a foundation.
Sure. At 15, you recognize that.
Yeah, at 15, I knew that. Graduated high school a year early, graduated college by the time I was 19.
Wow.
And just tried to create that. Like, regardless of what is thrown your way, if you just keep striving,
Yeah.
you'll make it.
But you're 15 and you're pregnant. Like, how did you process that? Like, what's it like being 15 and pregnant? Obviously, I don't know.
Well, of course, then 15-year-olds didn't walk around pregnant. So I was ashamed,
Sure.
very ashamed.
Was it because people were projecting that on you, or you just felt it because you just knew that?
I think both.
Yeah.
You know, when you are 15, I felt I was going to school, still went to school every day. So I think I don't know if it was my own reflection of what did you do? Why
Everybody knew what you did.
Yeah. Everybody knew what I did.
There ain't no hiding that.
So I don't know if it was self-inflicted or if if it was really there, people looking down.
Yeah, I just remember going to school and there was a girl, a couple of them I think, that were pregnant. I just remember like, man, people just were bashing and making fun of, being pregnant in school. So I just like wonder what it was like for you, because there is a little bit of age gap between me and you.
I don't feel like there was a lot of bashing, not from schoolmates.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way. I think I was such a determined young kid that
good for you.
I feel like people looked at you like, oh, well, you just ruined your life. So that was the more of a feeling that I got from adults at that time.
Okay. But it was almost like a motivation for you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, wow, that's crazy. Okay, so you're 15 and pregnant, and you have
15
Daniel.
and have Daniel.
But you graduate early, like you're some smart people.
Yeah, graduate early. Went straight to college.
Where'd you go to college?
Went to Michiana College in South Bend.
Okay.
Got my associate's degree there. Was with Daniel's dad had my second daughter, Courtney, when I was 20. Was with him for 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Not a healthy relationship.
Sure.
Very physical, emotionally.
Like abusive? Like, is that what you're saying? Like,
I mean, yeah. I mean, when you're throwing things at each other and you're...
Oh, so it was mutual.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to just lay there and take it.
Y'all throwing frying pans at each other?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not trying to make light of it, but
No. And so when I had Courtney, I think that was his way of... He wanted to have another child to fix things. And we did get married right after Daniel was born. He was probably a year old. And again, at that time I felt like, I think I was 16 or maybe going on 17.
Yeah.
And at that time, I think internally I felt like this is not the right thing to do just because we have a baby together.
Yeah.
But I think the pressure of family and just society.
Yeah. If you get pregnant, you should marry that person and
live happily ever after.
Yeah. Well, it's not always the case, is it?
No, was not the case.
Yeah.
So to fix this marriage, let's have another baby, right?
So can we just stop there and you can tell the people it doesn't fix anything, right? Having
did
another
not
baby,
fix
adding
anything.
another body to the family doesn't help at all. Yeah. Isn't it amazing when you're in that process, you think that actually helps? I've heard people say, well, we just want to have another baby. We thought it would help our marriage. Like,
yes.
No. Where does that thought process come from, you think?
I don't know if it's
TV?
because it's exciting. You get this new little life.
Well, it's like buying a new car. It lasts for about a month. And it's like, what in the world?
Well, the same thing with babies. They're cute, and then they start crying and being up all night and walking and talking.
Yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother subject, right? Dang. Okay.
Okay. So, when I had Courtney, it didn't change anything.
Yeah.
And Daniel was 5, 6 years old. And I had decided at that time, because I am pretty driven to want better every day, always have been.
Yeah.
I think when I looked at my daughter, I realized at that time, I didn't want her to think it was okay to be treated this way. And in turn, then I felt guilty because I thought, well, it was okay for Daniel.
Oh, okay.
So I realized, like, I want Daniel to understand it's not okay to treat people this way. And vice versa.
Yeah.
It's just not healthy.
Right.
So I no longer wanted them to witness this every day.
Sure.
Every day.
Now, do you have 2 kids or you have another one in there?
So we had 2. Those were the 2.
Those were the 2.
Those were the 2.
2's enough.
2's enough.
Yeah.
So I just went out on a limb and said, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm leaving. So I was 20 years old, 2 kids.
You have a lot happen in your life at 20.
Yeah.
You know?
And left. Got my own apartment and I left.
Wow. Do you have any regrets?
No.
Okay.
No. Especially looking back, it was not a healthy situation.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
For him or for me.
Yeah.
Nobody should live that way.
So like I mean, basically you're saying if you're in a situation like that, you feel like the best solution it would be to leave. I mean, I guess if it's not safe, maybe, or
yeah.
how do you know like where the line
I
is?
think mentally.
Yeah.
I mean, you emotionally for somebody to just struggle at home every day. Home should be your safe place.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't.
It's not always the case.
No.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be my kids' a safe place.
Sure. No, I get it. So 2 kids. You weren't married though, or were you married?
Yeah, we were married.
So you're divorced at 20.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to
I'm getting divorced.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So you're 15. You have a baby. You get married. You think it's awesome. We'll have another kid to help our marriage.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. And it just doesn't. And then at 20, you're divorced, and then you're on your own.
Yep.
Now
I'm
what?
on my own.
Now what?
Thankfully, my current husband,
Let's give him a shout out. Who is it?
Don Tharp.
Let's go, Don. We love Don.
I call him my hottie.
Really? You know what? I've never met your husband. I don't think I've met him. Look forward to meeting him though.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a fantastic guy. So kind of reverse a little bit.
Yeah.
To Courtney and Daniel's dad. He was my first real boyfriend in high school.
Okay.
So we dated. He lived in a whole different town. And then, of course, I'm like, this isn't working out. I wanted to date somebody from my own town.
Sure.
Went to my own school. And so kind of broke it off with him.
Okay.
And all through my marriage, I would see him periodically. And he would say at that time, you shouldn't deal with this.
Yeah.
This isn't the right way to go. So, of course, as soon as he heard about a divorce, probably 4 to 6 months after that, he came right back into my life. So,
Okay.
and then we just built from there.
Cool.
So he had 2 kids from previous.
Okay.
He's a couple years older than I. So he had 2 kids from a previous, Taylor and Landon. Landon was 7 months old.
Weren't you guys talking about Landon?
Landon.
Is that who that's who you guys know?
And most people think Landon's biologically mine because since Donnie and I have been together, Landon's been mine.
Yeah.
We had custody of Landon. So, and in my eyes, Landon is mine.
Sure.
So that was, that was in 98 that him and I got back together.
Okay.
So high school sweethearts, found each other again. Got married 6 months later.
Wow.
Yeah. And then had our youngest, Alexis. So made 5.
Wow. That's a big family.
Yeah.
That's a big family. We often talk about having more kids, but there's just I mean, obviously for more reasons than one. We cannot have children, but I'm thankful we can't because I love kids, but five's a crowd.
Don't do it.
Five's a crowd.
Yeah, Tim should know. I think he's got a whole bunch.
He's
right?
got 13.
6.
He's
Only
got
6.
and he's got 35 chickens. So I've heard.
I do. I got eggs coming out my ears.
Yeah,
so if anybody needs eggs, hit me up.
And Nick has cows. Are you eating those?
No, not yet.
Okay, cool. So what's it like the blended family thing for you? What did that look like? Was it hard, easy?
I think it was hard in our early years because my husband was a little more stern than I was. Now, Landon lived with us, of course. So we had 4 kids at home day in and day out. And then Taylor came on the weekends and holidays and stuff. And I felt at the time, I felt like these are my kids.
Yeah.
Like these are my kids.
Yeah.
And I would tell myself that. I'm thankful today that he had a little more stern hand than what I did.
Sure.
Because I think for the most part, we have some pretty good kids.
Yeah. For the most part.
For the most part. They still don't listen, but
They don't. They should. They're grown. They should be listening.
yeah.
Sorry, Mom and Dad. I'll do better.
So moving on through, it was just go to work, sports. They were all involved in sports, busy lives.
Yeah.
a lot of times after work, he was going to one game, I was going to another. They're all 2 years apart. So
That's tough.
Yeah.
I see a lot of families right now, like they do that. I'm like, man, that's gotta put a strain on the family, the marriage. Like it has to. You got mom and Susie going over this school, and then you got dad and Billy going to that school. Like it's just,
Right.
it's gotta be tough.
yeah, it was tough. What we did mostly together as a whole was wrestling.
Okay.
So when Landon was in kindergarten, brought home wrestling paperwork. And they're
That's
like,
when it starts.
"Oh."
That's when it starts, Nick. Kindergarten. I'm saying because one of your babies wrestles, right?
So I was like, I don't know. We don't really know a whole lot about wrestling. It's like, let's just stick with football, baseball.
Right.
So, of course, we were like, okay. Well, of course, my husband fell in love too. I still think I don't know. He probably put wrestling and me real close.
Oh, really?
We are still a wrestling family.
Okay.
So when Landon brought that home, of course, Daniel played football. And Landon went to wrestling. Daniel followed along. Of course, he's the big brother. And Daniel was like, I want to try this too. He's in middle school at the time. So we were like, okay, boys are in wrestling. Expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do it outside of school, it's
Oh,
very
yeah.
expensive.
Yep.
We were traveling all over, spending weekends, hotels.
Oh.
Yeah. Equipment. I mean, my husband coached the boys and got his knowledge in on wrestling.
Sure. No, I get it.
Yeah. So we did a lot of ISWA or Indiana State Wrestling Association wrestling. Lots of tournaments.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of led Daniel down the path he headed with addiction. So he started in middle school a little bit later in life, but he was dedicated. The boy would
Daniel,
get
is that
up.
who you're talking about?
Yes, Daniel. Landon did it. I think he enjoyed it, but I think he did it to make dad happy.
Okay.
I don't know if he would agree with me. I think even through high school, I think he did it just because I've been doing it for so long that I'll just be done in high school. And my husband loved it.
Yeah.
It was their bonding thing.
That's cool. Yeah.
So Daniel, he loved it. Like I used to say he lived and breathed it. He loved it. He worked out every day. He was running every day, keep his stamina.
Sure.
Weight, watching, where's my weight and all this good stuff. So we would travel all around most of the year because Daniel loved it.
Wow.
And we thought this is his thing. He, when he was a junior, I believe, in high school, he placed 7th at state.
Okay.
For ISWA.
You remember what weight class he was?
129, I think.
Okay.
I think he was 120. Well, Landon was always like much bigger than Daniel.
Yeah.
Landon was like kindergarten wrestling heavyweight.
Landon's a big boy.
And he's not obese by any means.
Sure.
He's just a thick boy.
Yeah. That's what Nick says too. He just it's he's not overweight or anything. He's just thicker than some. Thick bone. That's what it is. Right, Nick?
Big bone. That's what I always
Big
said.
bone. That's what it is. Yeah,
bone.
he's just big bone. I'm kidding.
So I mean, that was our life, raising the kids. The girls getting up 4 a.m., packing the van, and here we go off to a tournament. We're going to Terre Haute. We're going to Portage. We're going everywhere.
Yeah, so life's like kind of normal then. Like just normal.
Life is normal.
Normal life. Mm-hmm. Normal life.
Normal American dream every day. Going to work, coming home, going to sports.
Which 95% of people do.
Yeah.
So Daniel.
So Daniel was a perfectionist.
Okay.
Daniel was like, I saw a lot of me in him wanting to achieve to be good everything he did, he had to be good at it. If he wasn't good, he was going to work at being better.
Sure.
So when he was a junior in high school, I can't even tell you what he did. Something to his knee. I think it was his ACL, MCL he tore.
Okay.
Had to have surgery.
Like a wrestling thing?
Yes.
Okay.
All his injuries were wrestling. Because once he started wrestling, that was all he lived for. He quit football. He didn't play baseball. He didn't do
He was a
anything
one
else.
sport wonder.
One sport year round. That's where he wanted his money invested, wrestling. So he had that surgery. I want to say maybe 6 to 8 months later, tore his rotator cuff.
Dang.
A big tear.
Yeah.
He had to have it reconstructed in wrestling. And then his senior year, messed up his knee again, had to have another repair.
Dang. Okay.
So what that lead to was pain pills.
Okay.
So, of course, we're talking early 2000s, probably 2000. Let's see. I'm going to say from 5 to 10. 2005 to 10 was his intense wrestling career.
Okay.
So towards the end of that, he had these surgeries, started on Vicodin. Of course, I know what's best. If it's still hurting, it says take 1 or 2. Take 2 then.
Right.
If it's still hurting. But of course, then you didn't hear prescription abuse, or at least I did not.
Yeah.
I worked in healthcare. It wasn't an issue.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, I hate Vicodin, by the way. I remember having surgery. Like, I can't, it hurts my stomach. Makes me sick. Makes me
That's
sick.
how my husband is too. He vomits.
Yeah, it hurts, kills my stomach.
So, we're doing rehab. He's pushing to get back. I got to get back on the mat. Got to get back on the mat. I think many times he went back probably way too early.
Sure.
But of course, my husband's like, "Oh, he's tough. He can do it." Yeah. And I'm just like, "I don't know." And he's like, "You just let me do this."
Yeah, sure.
I'm like, okay, whatever. It wasn't actually until Daniel left home that I realized he had an issue with pills.
Like left home, like done with school?
Yeah, he was probably 20 when I started getting a hint. Like, something's not.
What was that? What was that? Like the hint? What was the hint?
I want to say just the way he treated us, his parents.
Okay. Like it was out of character? Is that what you're saying? Or
So I want to say, yeah, for sure.
okay.
I want to say that through that gate. So Daniel's biological dad, he always strived for his attention. He didn't participate much in the kids' life.
Sure.
Once we moved on. But Daniel wanted that relationship. And Daniel did everything he could to get his dad to want to be with him. So I think he emotionally had this. And then when he started taking pain pills, it kind of released that maybe.
Okay.
So my husband's daughter, Taylor, our oldest daughter, was diagnosed with cancer. We had to go to Houston, Texas for her treatment.
Okay.
So this is when I kind of noticed something's going on with Daniel. We would be on the phone and just his tone of voice, how he would respond to things. I'm like, that's not like him. And Daniel had married his high school sweetheart by then. They'd just had a baby.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I would ask her, is something? And she's like, oh, no, I think it was when they had their second baby that then I knew there was a problem. After the second baby was born, I don't know if it became tough, but I just started noticing, wow, he's like 110 pounds soaking wet. He looks bad. I know something.
Okay.
Something
so you're
going
seeing
on.
in, like emotionally, he's doing weird things. Physically, body's changing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But of course, it was always denied. No, you don't know what you're talking about, and so I would say probably it probably took 3 or 4 years before it was confirmed. Okay. I
Wow,
have
that's a
problem.
that's a long
Yeah.
time.
But he was on his own.
Yeah.
I couldn't prove
Sure.
like you're on something,
Yeah. Yeah.
or something's not right with you.
Mm-hmm.
I was always really close with Daniel because I always looked at him like he made me who I am.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have him at such a young age and realize I want more for him.
Sure.
To strive to be a better person myself.
Yeah.
So I was always like, he was my hero. And so we always had a really close relationship all through his growing up years, high school years, his younger years. And I saw that slipping away. And I was like, something is not right here.
Mm-hmm. Like you felt it in your heart. Like I'm just like,
when they say mom has a gut instinct,
Yeah.
mom has a gut instinct.
so I guess my question is he's out of school,
He's out
right?
of school.
He's married. So like but he's still taking prescription drugs from an injury in like high school. Is that?
I don't think he was getting them legally then.
Oh, okay. Okay. So he
Yeah.
didn't like, you're probably, I guess the assumption is he wasn't on a prescription still.
Correct.
Okay. He's
Correct.
okay. Okay.
So, you just see this role of one job after another, can't
Okay.
hold down the fort.
I gotcha.
So you see this, and he had 4 kids altogether.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Was still married to his high school sweetheart when he passed away. When they have their second baby, is I think when she finally was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And came clean with, he's got an issue.
Like to you, she came
yeah.
clean? Okay.
He's got an issue. And I had some friends from long-term friends too, that we watched our kids grow up together
Yeah,
and that.
yeah.
And they would call me and say, he's really weird out here, and is everything okay? And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't really know. So of course at that time I was looking at his addiction. Of course my husband's like, he'll grow out of this. He's going to grow up. He's just got with the wrong people and he'll grow out of this. And I believed that for a little while until it started affecting his family, his marriage, his kids. And I'm like, this is beyond, I think, his control.
Yeah.
And of course, at that time, I wasn't real educated. I knew what addiction was,
Sure.
but I wasn't educated in addiction.
What do you mean by that?
So I knew what addiction was. What I looked at addiction at that time was get it together. Like, just stop.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't look at addiction as addiction. I looked at it as more of a moral flaw,
Right.
or
Get your crap together.
Yeah.
Come on.
just grow up.
Yeah.
It's time to grow up. You
Yeah.
have a wife and 2 kids now. It's time to grow up.
Gotcha.
And then you just watch it kind of spiral slowly downhill. And probably for the first 10 years of his addiction, it was me trying to protect my other kids. Because of course he was 6 years older than our next.
Yeah.
What did I do wrong? What did we do wrong?
Sure.
I mean, it's not something he grew up in this environment.
Right.
You didn't want other people to know, because what are the coaches going to think about Landon if they know his brother is, actively using? Because there was many times Daniel would show up to some of Landon's tournaments, wrestling for high school and here in Manchester. And so I felt a lot of shame
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
Here at work, I was like, I don't want people to know that I have a son that suffers from addiction. He needs to just stop. So it was 10 years of a whole lot of covering up, I think.
So but you cover it, like you still cover it. Like people are saying, what's up with
I don't cover it anymore.
What's up with Daniel? Like what? But you would cover
And then, yeah.
How would you cover it? Like what would you say? Can I ask?
I wouldn't be.
Or what would you do?
Well, like if, he's nodding off or I'd be like, oh, well, I think he worked last night. He worked last night, or he's got a lot on his plate, or, if he made a promise here or there and he couldn't keep it. And I'd be like, oh, well, I'm pretty sure. So I didn't want to lie, but I wanted to make it like, I think.
But you were lying.
Yeah.
Right?
I was lying.
Okay.
I was lying to myself.
Yeah. Were you like lying about like how bad it really was to yourself?
I think so. Until the last couple years of his life. Yeah. Until it was in, and I think that might've been because he wasn't at home. That was another thing that I knew, because the more he could stay away, the more he did. Okay. Until his wife just finally was like, okay, I can't. He had years gone, 4 kids, had overdosed in front of them. Ambulance had taken him out and used Narcan on him. And she just couldn't she was in my shoes when I was that young girl of, I can't let my kids go through this anymore.
Right. But at this point, like when he's pretty much at the lowest, he's not just using like painkillers, right? Or
no, he did move into IV. I think his drug of choice was IV heroin, which of course is an opioid. So
and by IV, like heroin, you're saying like you just
shooting it. Yeah, he's shooting it up. Yeah. So I would say the last couple years of his life, let's see, I lost him in 2020. So probably 2018 is when I finally, maybe 17, I finally started, like, I just don't know what else to do. Like, I felt like I was watching my son commit suicide every day. And I knew what it was going to lead to. So 17, 18, I decided, okay, I need to figure out a different way. Me being mom harping on him every single day isn't working. It's not working. He was, the first time I ever watched him overdose, I had to take him, he was at our house. His wife had kicked him out for, I don't know how many times they went back and forth. And then he would, I'm going to get better, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And never happened. And he was at our house. I had to rush him to the hospital. He had soiled himself, foaming from the mouth.
And this is what OD looks like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got him there. And by this point, I'm going to say this was probably 2018. I was just at my wit's end. I just didn't know what else to do.
Wow.
And I felt like I was covering it up. I was going to work every day with little sleep most days, and
probably smiling,
and we're here for you.
Everything's okay.
Yeah. Until that overdose that was on my hands, and God love Dr. Welker. One day at work, finally took me into a room, and she was like, spill your beans, because I know something isn't it.
Wow.
And I just started bawling and crying, and she just sat there and listened. Never made me feel below her, or never made me feel like, I don't know, I guess the stigma of addiction is so ugly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until that moment when she was like, Brandy, addiction affects everybody. There's judges, lawyers, congressmen, families that go through this. It's not your fault. And I'm
That's
just like,
powerful.
yeah.
That's powerful.
And I'm just like, but what can I do to
Yeah.
fix it?
Yeah.
That was always my thing. A mom, I got to fix it.
Yeah. Your mom.
I got to fix him. And, you know, all my other kids are watching this all unfold too, regardless of how sheltered we tried to make it.
Sure.
They're seeing.
You can only do
things.
so much.
Yeah, they know. And then, of course, they're trying to lead on their day as perfect family at home too.
Yeah.
So I think it was 2020. I decided, well, after my discussion with Dr. Welker, and I'm like, okay, I got to figure something out.
Yeah.
So I finally told him, we have to get you into a rehab. You just going to this meeting here and there and doing it your way isn't working. It's not working for you.
Yeah.
Got him into a rehab. That's when I learned that how much or how little there is help for people that suffer from substance use, because no one had open, you know, like, well, we can do an evaluation and then wait for an open bed. And I'm like, well, what do these people do in the meantime?
Right. Right.
I can tell you right now, I have him ready to go into a rehab, but tomorrow I may not know where he is for 3 days.
Right. Right.
I mean, it's sad,
Like you got to jump when you can, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
but the resources aren't there.
Yeah.
So I finally did get him into a rehab. He was there a few months. I was doing well and then got kicked out for relapsing. Came back home, went on the road and just, I mean, I don't even know what he was doing. Went missing for like a week at one point in Knoxville, Tennessee. I had a friend who lives in Tennessee, found him, brought him back to Indiana. So this was in 2020. So when he came back to Indiana, I decided I need to go about this a whole different direction. I need to actually educate myself on what's happening to him.
Sure.
Why can he not just quit? And so that's when I just dove into some education on what addiction is, what's happening in the brain, and what's changing from.
Yeah.
So initially, I don't think he started using because he wanted to get high or become an addict. I think he did it because he went through some orthopedic surgery.
Yeah. He was in pain, maybe.
Yeah. He went through a lot of orthopedic surgery at a young age. And I think his brain adjusted to having those opioids. And from that point, he learned it also relaxed some of those inner struggles he had, I think.
Sure. So the big question is like, what is it like for you, before we go too much further into the story there, but what is it like as a mom to watch your son fall, but you just can't do anything about
It's
it?
the worst.
Yeah.
It's like I would have gave my breath to fix him.
Yeah.
Like I would have.
I mean, your mom, your super mom,
Moms fix everything.
mom must fix everything, but like you're watching him deteriorate, and there's just nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. You're not the first person who sat there and shared this with us, and it's just like, what is it like? How do you deal with that? Like
I don't even think it's describable.
Yeah.
Like there's not words to describe that.
Yeah.
There's not.
And this is 2020.
So 2020 is when he came back
From like the rehab
from
or
Knoxville. So he was missing down there, and intentionally on his part, he was missing. When he came back to Indiana, he had nowhere to go.
So he's not going back to home and kids. And no, he's not probably allowed.
She had enough.
Yeah.
And I can't blame her. I have nothing bad to say about her.
Yeah.
Other than that first 10 years, I feel like it was a battle between the two of us of it's my husband and my family and I can take care of this. And it's my son and something's going on.
Oh, Mama bear and then
yeah.
wife. No, I imagine that's pretty difficult.
Yeah, it was very difficult. So I love her today, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just left her. I was in Tennessee with her and the girls for Christmas.
Gotcha.
So when he came back, his biological dad decided, I'm going to step in and I'm going to take care of this.
Okay.
Okay. And that's exactly what I told him. Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And I told my husband, I'm like, maybe this is what he needed. It's what he's always wanted, to have that relationship with his dad.
Sure.
But it didn't last long because I think once his dad saw what was happening, he wasn't tolerating it. So give him the boot.
Which like just opens up a whole nother wound.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was kind of couch surfing, I call it.
Sure. Yeah.
So in 2020, when he came back, I decided, okay, I need some education. I need to be open about this.
Yeah.
I can't hide this anymore because it's hurting me, my family.
Yeah.
Which is Dr. Welker had given me this flyer. She goes to the chapel in Fort Wayne.
Okay.
And she gave me this flyer of the Mom of an Addict, a new support group meeting that's there for families who are affected by addiction. So I told my husband, I said, nobody's going to understand what we've been through.
Right.
But if it's going to help me to help him, I'll try it.
Sure.
So I went to this meeting. It was like the best decision I ever made in my life.
Wow.
Yeah. To see so many families that they're like, oh, yeah, been there. And I'm like, really? I thought it was just us.
How comforting is that, though, right?
Yeah.
To be
and I'm not talking like 3 or 4. I'm talking a room full of people.
Yeah.
A room full of people that they're like, oh, yeah, they have, my son's in prison.
Yeah.
Oh, my son's still actively using. And I'm like, oh. At that time, my son was still actively using too. It was the best thing I ever found. To be able to open up and talk about it.
But people who understood.
Yeah, with people that understood.
And they're not going to judge you.
Not going to judge me.
Yeah.
Got so much education.
Yeah.
On what addiction is, enabling codependency, all those things that I'm like, wow, I didn't even know what those were, and I'm every one of them.
So I was going to ask you, were you an enabler?
Every one of them.
Yeah.
Every one of them. So that last couple years of Daniel's life, he had gotten so bad that, and keep in mind, we were never church goers. I mean, the kids went as kids, and so he was notorious. 1 a.m. my phone would ring. Mom, what are you doing? It's 1 a.m. I'm sleeping. Oh, well, can you go to Logansport and pick me up? No, I have to be at work at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I mean, his mind, I could go on for days about things that he did, but just speaking on my own behalf, I was going to bed every night. Phone is right here, volume on high, because I was waiting for that call. And I tell people this when I talk to them, is I knew I was going to get the call. And every night I started praying before I went to bed, especially the last year. And just like, God, if you can hear me, if you're there at any point in my day, whisper something in his ear, make him understand his self-worth.
Yeah. And by the call, you're saying, we found your son.
Yeah.
Call.
Yeah. And I said that prayer every single night when I went to bed. Let today be the day. Yeah. Let today be the day that he sees your love.
Amen.
And I never got that answer. Actually, it took me a while. I did get the answer from God. So November 3rd of 2020, I was at work and got that call that he had been found. Probably had been there for a while, at least 12 hours. And I was so angry. Like everything you expect. Like I planned it all out for months.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to get the call and this is what's going to happen. And here's how I'm going to feel about it. Like I planned it. Like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And when it happened, none of it went as planned. It was the worst phone call ever.
Who called you?
His wife.
Who called her?
I believe the sheriff's department,
Okay.
Kosciuszko County.
Sometimes I wonder how they contact people, like
Yeah.
how that works. But
Yeah. So that day was a big blur. Of course, she was in Tennessee.
what time of day was this when they called? Like you said, morning or?
It was 2:48 to be exact. November 3rd. 2:48 p.m.
Okay.
I was at work.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, get the call, go through that whole process.
Yeah.
I would say probably 3 months, the first 3 months, I didn't even care if I took a shower. Don't open the curtains. I took about a month off work. But then the guilt set in. So, and I still struggle with that.
Sure.
That's the part that gets me. Of what I could have done, what I should have done, would it have changed the outcome? Because when you have somebody, your child, and you have to shut the door in their face as they're crying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they just need somewhere to sleep tonight. And again, I had done some education. I've learned about enabling and codependency, and I did a whole lot of self-reflecting on those things.
Yeah.
But I knew that I didn't want to love him to death either.
Wow.
Yeah. If it was going to happen at that time, I didn't want it to be because I allowed it to happen.
Right.
So I still, and I probably always will, struggle with some like, well, if I would have let him just come in and sleep on the couch that night, or, you know, if I would have done this, if I would have went and picked him up that time, or maybe it would have made a difference.
But what do you say to the family member that's going through that right now? What do you say to them? Because
There's not a right answer.
I was going to say, give yourself some grace here. Give
Yeah.
yourself some grace here.
And I know that deep down, I know that.
Yeah.
But you know, your mind kind of plays a role.
I know it's terrible. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
So any moment that I'm alone, I replay things that happened, and how I reacted.
Yeah.
So probably, I don't know. I continue to go to my support group
Yeah.
because I knew I needed that.
Sure.
I don't know how long it was after he passed away. I was like, you know, I went 10 years and felt alone, felt very alone. Like nobody understood, nor did I want anybody to know.
Yeah.
I don't want that for other family members.
Wow.
Like I want people to say it's not my fault and I cannot fix them. They have to want to fix themselves.
Yeah.
I know lots of great people
Sure.
who are in recovery.
Yeah.
And work in recovery and do great things in this world.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a difference for another mom who feels alone and
Sure.
don't have the answer.
Right. And so, like, with the education you kind of got from Mom of an Addict, all of that, those resources, can you, I don't want to focus on like maybe what you did wrong, but what do you think you did right through that whole process with Daniel?
I think especially that the last several months, we were rebuilding our relationship. I was learning to love him through his addiction. I was learning to accept him for who he was, whether he was actively using or not. He was still my son.
Yeah.
I was learning to let go of holding on to what I wanted.
Oh, that's still good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like what I wanted from him. He was an adult. He had his own, he was controlling his own destiny.
Yeah.
So I tell people a lot of times too, it took me, so after Daniel's death, and I get that phone call and I get home and I spent days on the couch and I'm just like, this was not the answer that I wanted. Like I wanted you to help him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took me a while to realize that maybe my prayer was answered. Was it answered the way I wanted it to turn out? No, not at all. But I think about all my history of working in healthcare too. And I can remember working in a nursing home, and there was a young kid. He wasn't a kid. I was probably the same age as him at the time, in his 20s, that was using drugs, drinking, was in had a bad outcome, and he was nonverbal and had to be in a nursing home.
Sure.
And I think about, is that what I wanted? I didn't want that life for him either.
Yeah.
So did God put Daniel on this earth to give us 4 beautiful blonde little girls that are going to do great things in the world, and then take him home? Did he know that Daniel could never win this battle on his own? There's a whole lot of things that I was like, maybe he didn't do it to please me, but to help Daniel. Because that's all I wanted was Daniel to get help.
Sure.
He helped Daniel. So a lot of people are like, wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it took me a long time to get there, which is in turn where I'm like, I need to look more into my faith. If I want to believe that he took my son home, I need to invest in that. I need to look into that myself.
Sure. Sure.
Because I want to be there that one day, which is what brought me here.
We're so thankful you're here too.
Yeah.
So thankful you're here too. Very, very powerful story. You live in it. The anger afterwards, like the
Let's be real. I was angry the whole time.
Yeah.
With him.
Yeah. I can imagine. I've never, and I've said it, like people know, like I've never dealt with it. I've never been on the other side of it. Nothing to that extent. You know what I mean? Like I can't identify with that story. It's just powerful to see people on the other side of it. Yeah, I mean, it's the worst case scenario. Like I sit with my best friend Andy, he talks about losing his daughter to cancer. Like it's literally the worst case to lose a child. Like there's just nothing there. From what he says, you can't explain it. Like you did, the pain, the loss, the whole. Like you can't explain it. You can't explain like the disappointment, because he's a man of faith, loves Jesus. Like you can't. The conversations you have, like the whys, I don't understand. Like but to see you on the other side of it, a woman of faith, loves Jesus. Sure, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of like, I don't knows, that are still, but you love Jesus.
Yeah.
So like the hope that you have, you found hope.
Yeah. I still believe in hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's still hope. There's still hope. And I know there's people who watching the podcast who have talked about like, we raised him in a perfect home. We raised our
I
child in a
wouldn't
perfect
say perfect, but ordinary.
Oh yeah, right. Or that's awesome. It's really just a normal home. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like mom and dad were home. It wasn't crazy.
Yep.
You know.
Do your homework. Let's eat dinner.
Yeah, it was normal.
Chores.
But
Yeah.
for some reason, their child is whether it's alcohol or it's drugs or it's whatever. That's often a question we get. Like we just don't understand why.
And when I talk to people, or other families or friends, so I now that I reflect back, I used to try to talk on Daniel's behalf.
Sure.
Like this is why he did this and this is what he
Yeah.
did, and when really I don't know.
Right.
He was his own person.
Yeah.
I can only reflect on me, what I felt, what I went through. I think the easiest way for me to explain is I felt like I watched him from the time he was 20 years old until he was 29 years old, slowly killing himself every day. And there was nothing I could do. I would have moved the moon, mountains, oceans.
He knew that too.
Yeah,
He knew that.
he did. He did know that. But I couldn't move any of those things to fix him.
Yeah.
And so I always feel like, I just watched this. I watched him deteriorate over time.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. Not to mention, I just kind of went on the outside of the cake. Like I said, I could go on and on with stories that you're like, oh my goodness. But I think not to mention what it did to our family. I think addiction is a family disease. It affects all of us.
It does affect everybody.
It does affect everybody involved.
Whether like addiction, like somebody's poor health, like you know what I'm saying. Like Andy's daughter had cancer. Like it affected the entire
The
family.
entire family.
Tragedy affects everybody. It affects the family, and just powerful, just powerful.
Yeah.
So we're gonna bring you back, but we're going to end this episode. But I want you to just take the floor and share the statement to the moms, the dads, the brothers, the sisters, the families that are just kind of like navigating some of this stuff right now, and they're kind of in the thick of it. What do they do? How do they reach out to a mom of an addict, or how do they get all that kind of stuff?
I would say if you're facing any loved one on any level of substance use, alcohol, drugs, don't do it alone. Just don't do it alone. There's support out there. The stigma is ugly, but it feels good to be able to talk about it and not feel shamed. So don't do it alone. Find if it's not the mom of an addict, which we meet here on the first Wednesday of every month. There's multiple locations. If you go to the Facebook page, The Mom of an Addict, you can find they have virtual meetings too, a couple days a week. But just don't do it alone.
Don't do it alone.
Yeah, don't hide behind the door. Talk about it. Speak about it. Don't be ashamed to say, I have a child that suffers from substance use. It's a disease. There was, in 2022, Indiana alone had over 2,500 deaths from drug overdose, unintentional. And that's you can go to the health department page too, the Indiana Health Department page, and they give you all those statistics and resources too. But that's a lot of families. That's a whole lot of families.
That's a lot of families.
So that's the biggest thing I would say is if I had to rewalk the same path, I wouldn't have hit it.
So find your people.
Find your people. They're out there. if it's not the mom of an addict, there's other support group meetings and families that are suffering.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brandy,
Nice to be here.
thanks for sharing. Thanks, like, truly,
welcome.
genuinely. Thanks.
Yeah.
You're just so genuine, you know? And I know it's a hard story to share. But I think through that difficulty, you're bringing hope to people, you know, that are walking through it right now.
Yeah.
And I've been praying about this episode, and like, for some reason, it's just hitting weird. I don't know why. Like, maybe we're drawing a newer audience, or just a new audience in general. Like, I genuinely want people to understand, like this isn't like a Dateline episode. This isn't
Right.
like, this isn't what we're trying to do here. We want people to see the hope, and because tragedy strikes everywhere, every family, and Andy said it best, is like, I have hope way before tragedy hits. So when tragedy hits, like, that's when hope comes in. That's when
Right.
that's when it shifts everything. So it's like, don't wait.
Yeah.
You
Don't
know,
wait.
Don't wait.
Yeah.
Don't wait till tragedy strikes to find Jesus or find, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, my prayer is this, and it's really simple. That people would begin to just trust Jesus. And I know it sounds super cliche, and I know there's reasons why people don't, and whatever. I just want to cut through all the bull crap. Like, Jesus truly is the only hope.
Yeah.
The only hope.
Yeah.
The only hope.
Yeah. I
Brandy,
agree.
Brandy, you're awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Can't wait to meet your husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Maybe we get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Get Donnie on.
Yeah. That might not go so well.
Oh, it'd be fun.
There'll be a lot of editing.
Probably.
Well, we got a button that does a lot of.
Do we?
Where's that button at, David? Beep, beep.
I don't think we have one of those. We need one.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we're thankful that you're part of the church, and man, just feel.
Yeah, I do have a question with that
Oh.
moms of an addict. I mean, is that just moms or is it parents?
No, that's for anybody and you can be neighbor, friend, mom, sister. I mean, we have siblings that come, grandparents, anybody that's affected. There's at each meeting they do, like, it's an hour and a half long. The first 20 to 30 minutes, it's about education. It's all, they do educational material
Yeah.
on so many different things. I think there's 20 some lessons
Oh wow.
that you go through. And then the last hour, it's just, how are things going for you this week?
Yeah.
Some moms or family members or siblings, they're in tears, and others are, this is a good week. So
This is a good week.
yeah, high five.
I'll give you a high five. Is this week a good week?
Yeah, it's a good week for me every week now.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Well, anybody else? Nick, you got a question or anything? I see you writing something. Did you write something down?
I was gonna ask her some questions, like how the rest of the kids dealt with it. Like, did you do like any like family style intervention things, or maybe when the addiction came to head? Yeah, how the kids deal with it. I wrote that down, and before you answer that, I just wanted to thank you by honoring God and being real and sharing your story, and that's how God gets the glory. Is, you know, if one person gets hope through what you said today, you know, it's all worth it.
Absolutely.
He's gonna make me cry. Quit it. Quit it right now. Nick is so soft-hearted, man. Dadgummy. All right, sorry. There was a question there. I'm sorry.
So I would say, as a family, I mean, we just leaned on each other more so. Once things started coming to a head, my kids were either grown, per se.
They always think they're grown.
Yeah, yeah. Or they were old enough to, we were open more in discussion on what do we do here? How do you feel? Do you need something more than what we're doing today? And I would say everybody found their own way in dealing with that.
That's good.
Yeah.
We have a live caller. Go ahead, caller.
That would be nice though.
We do a live, do a live where we have a caller coming in.
That'd be next season.
Next season 3.
Yeah,
season
season 3,
3.
live callers,
Let's go.
live broadcast.
Live. We should do a live episode. That'd be fun.
We need a 7-second delay,
Well, especially
especially if it's an off-site program.
yeah.
Or you're talking to my husband.
Or you're talking to Don.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Walnut Street Podcast. See you on the next episode.